Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is Krista here to do the extended monthly forecast for April 2018. This is a general reading for Pisces Sun, Pisces Moon, and Pisces Rising. So this is for April 2018. We'll be using the horseshoe spread today, which is 7 cards, and I'll be using the bottom of the deck for general energy for you. And then as always, I will get jumpers from each of the 4 oracle decks for you to polish off your reading for you. So I hope that you enjoyed last month's extended monthly forecast in addition to your mid-month check-in. And I thank everyone for sticking with me and for your support and for liking, sharing, and subscribing, of course. So what are messages for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising for April 2018? Messages for Pisces, April 2018. Messages for Pisces, April 2018. Messages for Pisces, April 2018. There we go. And I just want to show you what jumped out, the Magician. That's having everything you need, by the way. Let's split the deck here. And bottom of the deck energy for you is the 7 of Pentacles. Let's see if the Magician shows up in your spread, by the way. Sometimes that happens if you're meant to see those messages. So bottom of the deck for you is the 7 of Pentacles. So this is really just seeing where you are now that you've worked very hard for something or come through something in a very practical sense here. A lot of stability has been built here, but it's almost like you are just gaining perspective on where you are right now. But there's also a little bit of dreaminess involved with this as well. It's almost like, oh, you know, I've really worked hard for this, or we've come this far again. So this is for any pressing issue in your life right now, Pisces. Only you can decide that, as this is a general reading. But in a practical sense, whatever you've just accomplished, you are able to you know, put your feet up and contemplate that a little bit right now. Like, where would you like to take it from here? Where do you want to go from here with what you've already established here? So that's the general energy that we go into the month with. Let's get your cards. We have the past, present, hidden influences. This represents you. This is your second 7. So 7s are pretty important here. 7s are magic. This is the influence of others. This is what you should do, and here is your your final outcome. Ooh wee. There's a lot of magic in your month for April, Pisces, is what I'm seeing here. Maybe a difficult conversation you have to have here. Again, if this has nothing to do with anyone else, or there's no agents or actors in your environment, and this is strictly going on in your head and your heart, something that you need to come to terms with mentally here, or even officially, okay? Even in an official way, like I decide this, but it's after some contemplation or even, what would we call it? Like a little bit of conflict, like something was creating a conflict here, but it's almost like you needed to move through that in order to get to this beautiful inspired card here. So we do have 2 major arcanas, here with the Strength and here with the Fool. Anytime we're dealing with major arcanas, as I always say, there's just really potent energy, something we can't move around or move past. It's just something that we have to work with, not always a bad thing. It's also something that's available to you in a very sort of, in an esoteric sense. There's information or concepts or even individuals that are available to you in a very real sense for you. So let us look at each one in their position and see what the month has in store for you. So we'll begin here in your recent past with the 4 of Water, or the 4 of Cups. Anytime we're dealing with water, there's some emotional element here, emotional energy. This is really possibly a disappointment or a dissatisfaction with an emotional concern. It's something that has already passed, and it's in the lower numbers in the water suit. So I'm going to suggest here it's something that you got over pretty quickly. And but it might have led to something else. We do have the 5 of Pentacles following it. You do have 2 5s here as well. 2 7s, 2 5s. There's a lot of magic available to you, and there is an element of conflict. Maybe even not being kind to yourself, looking for trouble, not willing to accept help when it's available to you. There's some themes here. You could be punishing yourself here for some reason, or you could feel as though there's like a cross to bear. Normally I wouldn't say that with the 4 of water on its own, but I do see what follows it. So I would say, hey, no problem, you get over something here, but it's definitely leading to something practical here. And I think that there's hesitant to use the term abuse, but I mean maybe it's small, like lowercase a abuse. Not that maybe even you're cognizant of it or that you're conscious of it. But a little bit of, anytime I see the 5 of Pentacles here, there's always an element of an unwillingness to accept assistance, which in my view really is a type of self-punishment, right? I mean, something's available to you. And then and anytime we're dealing with Pentacles, we're dealing with worth and value. So that something's available to you, you're not accepting it, it's valuable. Why wouldn't you accept it, right? And I'm going to suggest that it has something to do with your recent past here with the 4 of water, and there's a little bit of a letdown, right? An emotional letdown here. There is something to look forward to, but there is a slight overfocus on perhaps the problem. The biggest pearl in her hand might weigh the most or might be the most problematic somehow, but there's other pearls around her, and it's almost like she's just lost sight of them. So April might be a difficult emotional month for you in that regard. And again, here with the present, I mean, this is where we're looking. It's interesting too, because this is what you should do. So it's almost like you need to have a difficult conversation with someone to set yourself free. But you're not in a poor position, bad. You're not in a bad position in the first place at all. You might feel like you need to protect yourself, but you have everything you need. You have the information. You're on higher ground. Anyway, all in all, Aries, there is some element of conflict for you this month is what we're looking at. Either this is inner turmoil or here with the swords, mental turmoil, or very practical turmoil, as though you are being led away from something or you're leading yourself away from something that could really practically help you here. And the question for me this month for you would be, why would you do that? You know, in whose interest is it for you to do that? Or why would you be avoiding something here? Here with hidden influences is the soulmate card. It is the connection card. This is a real sense of equality. Again, we're dealing with the emotions. It's seeing eye to eye with someone seeing eye to eye with you. Soulmate does not have to be a lover. It can be a friend, a coworker, it doesn't really matter who it is. Someone that you see eye to eye with. This is a hidden influence for you, and this is something that is going to benefit you. So if you are troubled by something or feel undeserving, and it is in an emotional realm, and you're beating yourself up, etc., I would really try to have a communication or a heart-to-heart with this person. So that you can get to the heart of the matter here. This is only going to help you. But again, I see you resisting that for some reason. Maybe you think something's faded here. Dealing with like everything is under 10. That's the other thing. Like there's no queens or messengers or kings here. So it's like this is, even if this is communicative or relational energy, it's like there's no passing the buck this month, okay? We can't in any way say it's your problem, you figure it out, you deal with it, you did this to me. We, as for my Pisces, this isn't a good month to do that. This is a really nice month to contemplate and examine responsibility. Okay, this is a very practical, responsible card, but it's something, there's a resistance here. And what could help you in a hidden influence is a soulmate. Now, if the hidden influence as a soulmate card is the issue, right, then there is a division here. Then there is a conflict here. You are seeing where you've come so far. Maybe you're looking, again, maybe you're looking at trouble or looking at making a mountain out of a molehill type thing. And I'm not saying it's not important, and I'm not saying it's not important to you, but I feel like if you were to sort of let it out or get it out or examine it somehow, then it wouldn't be as big as perhaps it feels right now. Seven of Fire, this represents you. This is your second seven, as I said. Seven is magic. This is where you are on top of something, but you're still protecting yourself. So here's your denying yourself, protecting yourself, conflict, okay? Wordsmith conflict. So spoken word, written word. If this has to do with an outside agent or actor in your environment, if this is strictly about you and something you're experiencing in your own environment, I'm going to suggest that this is inner turmoil, inner conflict, okay? But it's also in the position of what you should do. So it's like, don't maybe accept things at face value right now. Maybe take something to task. Maybe try to get to the bottom of something here. Maybe decide that you are worth it, that you are more valuable here. Okay, and because there is something beautiful and really gorgeous at the end of this. You could really easily free yourself here if you are willing to have this difficult conversation, either within or with someone else. So yeah, there's a little bit of feeling as though you have to protect yourself here. And it is wands. We are dealing with wands. We are dealing with, fire energy. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius energy. I'm not going to say it's the person you're dealing with. This isn't a court card, but this is definitely energy of those. So quick to anger, quick to forgive, that type of thing. Directional energy. It's not contemplative. So there could be a rush here. Just like you might have felt rushed here and maybe put your feet up for like a whole 5 minutes to figure out how you're going to use all this money or use what you've gained, or how far you're willing to take something here. But this is a very temporary rest, because what follows this is, of course, the Eight of Pentacles, and the 8 is your nose to the grindstone again, right? So you're very dedicated to something here. And it could be very passionate for you, but you're in defense of something here. Just make sure it's of your own wellness and in your own sense of responsibility, as opposed to passing the buck right now. Here with your influence of others is the Strength card. We have the infinity here, of course. 8 horizontally is the infinity symbol. This is something you've probably been through before. It's something, it could even feel like a calling right now, but it's a gorgeous card. You're going to draw on inner strength, or someone as an outside influence here is going to provide strength to you, for you. About the situation. We do have Leonic energy here. There could be a Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising in your environment, Pisces, or someone with Leonian energy, which is Sun energy. It is expansive. It is prosperous. It is childlike. This is the sign of wonder and amazement. So those types of qualities are going to play out here as well. You could even surprise yourself through listening to the advice of someone with this energy right now. But the influence of others, if this is an actor and this is a Leo, him or herself, is, I'm going to suggest, is a because of our infinity, 8 horizontal, I'm going to suggest that this is fated, okay? Maybe that's why you're sort of wrestling with yourself here. But strength is available to you, especially if you feel like you're crumbling under pressure or you don't have what it takes to stand your ground here. There could be a lot available to you if you were to reach out, okay, to that person who you can rely on, that soulmate who you can rely on right now for good advice or anything that you need right now. So, and there's a real follow-through energy here. Maybe you just need help overcoming something. That could very well be what's going on, and you're struggling on your own, or you're struggling within, or, it's emotionally taxing for you. And maybe you're just, and this is natural, everyone does, maybe you're just tired of the fight. Maybe you're tired of the battle. Or of proving yourself, okay? And granted, right? You can only do that so long. So there's a real sense of endurance here. And because this is in the influence, both hidden and external influences position, we're dealing with someone who really has your back. So if you have at least one person in your life who you can rely on to do that right now, I would reach out, Pisces, and really get some help or assistance with something, especially if you're self-flagellating. Stop that. Stop beating yourself up. Okay? Because more than anything, because it's unkind, and you really require a great deal of kindness right now. So don't beat yourself up if you can help that. As for your what you should do position, as I mentioned early on, there's an element of something needing to be faced here, a minor conflict that needs to be had. I mean, the chips are going to fall where they may when this is done, but I mean, you're both going to know where you stand too. As I mentioned a minute ago, if this is internal and hasn't to do with an agent or actor in your environment, I'm going to suggest that this is sort of an internal conflict for you, that you really need to work through something mentally or psychologically, or even ideologically. Let's say this all has to do with a spiritual pursuit, for example. This is something that you're going to have to come to terms with, okay? Either through your own sense of contemplation or through the communication, possibly, with someone else that you can trust right now. And here with the Fool as your outcome card, this is absolutely stunning. I would be very happy to see this in everyone's reading, really pretty much in any position. So this is the beginning of the beginning. This is even before things begin. This is like innocence, right? It's like a real innocent power here. There's like a real freedom here. It's like a literal starting over. So you can really free yourself here from something, Pisces. There is a distinct and unique enthusiasm behind this card, and it comes with freeing yourself from something. It comes from non-attachment, right? And there is a spiritual bent to this as well. It's the recognition, especially if you feel that this is a eternal or infinite or fated, something about this is fated, that there's a sense of you can be free of that say that debt has been paid, that karma has been paid. You can start fresh with something here. There is a real element of spiritual, what do they say? There's, we are human beings we are spirits having a human experience, not humans having a spiritual experience. So it's almost like there's an element of maybe even the first call or the first introduction to a spiritual awakening here. But perhaps this has nothing to do with the spiritual realm. This has to do with practical matters, or has to do with matters of the heart or the mind here. There is an element of now you can move past something. You're beyond something here. You can move past it. Your second major arcana, of course, the strength is endurance. This is really just feeling like you can take on the world. You can do anything. Your self-worth has been restored. You can now look at everything through the lens of compassion and through the lens of appreciation and grace. You may have gotten closer in touch with your higher self here with the Two of Water, the soulmate card, or you could have been provided a great deal of assistance here through a soulmate experience. All the same, your past being on edge about something, your past having to constantly stand up for yourself here, you know, on its own, it's not a bad thing. Stand up for yourself, of course, but you know, you don't want to live in that environment. That's very draining. And also, I mean, if you're in an environment where you're constantly standing up for yourself, I mean, you have to start questioning that environment. Like, what environment are you in, and why would you be putting yourself through something overtly difficult or something that's cyclical, you can rely on repeating itself and you would rather it not? So it's almost like, where are you now and where do you want to be, right? Which is the underlying energy to all of this. Some of it might just have to do strictly with, like, what is it you really want and aren't now having? And then look at how to build toward that future than what was disappointing or that you rejected or dismissed or didn't think was valuable or available to you, or you didn't think you were good enough for, blah, blah, blah. You need to face something here, though. There's something that needs to be faced for you to be free from that, to be enthusiastic again, right? You don't want to be, nobody wants to be tied to our past, tied to something that feels fated, even though it's like a lot of work and disconcerting and may even make us feel hopeless from time to time, you know? That's not your path, Pisces. Your path is enthusiasm, enlightenment, enjoyment, setting yourself free. I mean, I wouldn't even be shocked if we get the set yourself free card, to be honest, because that would just drive home this message today. But I mean, ultimately, that's what's going on here. There's an opportunity for you to set yourself free from something. I think if there is the propensity or the habit of relying on someone else right now to do this for you, it's not going to work this month. And it might be the only month it doesn't. Sure, fair enough. But it's going to be the month that you have to take yourself to task. Figure out why you would be accepting things that either you don't really truly find valuable or that they don't find valuable about you. Because you don't need to be down and out, Pisces. Okay? And there is an opportunity for a conversation here, either within or with someone else. Really contemplate who you trust right now and you know, add yourself to the list. Like, do you trust yourself? And if the answer is yes, then great. Okay? Now you know exactly what to do next. Just do that. But if you don't, that's adds a whole other layer to this. It's like, holy cow, like, maybe if the answer is, I don't know if I can trust myself, then maybe it has less to do with the other person or people or thing or whatever is in your environment. Maybe it has less to do with that and a little bit more to do with whether or not you trust yourself, make the right decisions, or to follow through with something, or to know what's best, or how much you're really worth, etc., okay? Well, it wasn't the free yourself card, but that's interesting all the same. Let's get into it. So your final message cards are the Lizard. Here's where we're dealing with dreaming. Exactly. I'm going to say, you know, time to come out of the dream world. Something is going to be, if not uncomfortable, there's going to be like a little bit of a hello, a wake-up call, like a message, like a firm foot, something that's going to maybe make you take notice, pay attention right now. And it's going to be, I'm going to suggest here, you're waking up from dream time. You're waking up from dreaming. This might have been what led to this condition in the first place for you, Pisces, in April. But because you are being asked to pause here and examine where you've been, contemplate where you want to go next after all you've done, learned, worked at, etc., I don't think dreaming is in your best interest right now. You don't want to keep denying something or live in a sense of delusion or deny the obvious, okay? You want to be able to grapple with reality here. On the other hand, dreaming could be saying that if you are coming out of something difficult and the practical world is too much for you right now, maybe you do need to work at bringing your dreams to fruition so that you can stop feeling disappointed in yourself. Here we have retreat. Now this is curious as well because anytime we're dealing with water, this is an emotional world for us. And this is difficult, right? The Pentacles are saying this is a practical reality. So we have a difficult emotion, a disconcerting practical reality, a little bit of tension here. So yeah, you want to retreat, in my view, from what you have dreamed about, what you have, even if you've worked at something and it's not exactly what you wanted, you still would need to know where to go from here. But there's a sense of, you know, pull back, give yourself some credit, first of all. If you need to be healthy and happy right now, at least for several days for the majority of the month, you're going to be assisted by walking away from something difficult. Now, I know that what you should do is deal with something, but again, I'm not seeing another player, another person in your environment. So I'm going to suggest very strongly this is something you need to do within your own mind. So if that's the case, you know, maybe wear your heart close to your sleeve this month. Maybe don't project or give anyone any information about what you're doing here when you're examining the situation or yourself or etc. Retreat into something, retreat into, you know, there was an element of, this is curious because they're almost playing in the same world, aren't they? There's the retreat. It's almost like an inability to face facts. I can't help but think that just by looking at this, right? There's dreaming and then retreating. So I'm going to read this similarly to the dream card now that this is evident to me. It's almost like this is going to pose the issue. I was going to suggest that you do need to pull back from something, but no, something needs to be faced head on. And I think the dreaming or delusion, and I think that the retreat or the uninvolvement or the, it's another way, the denial is, has led to maybe a little bit of an issue or a problem or a concern here. So maybe it's just time to dig in, right? Do what you need to do here. Draw strength from someone who is able to provide it for you. Don't be shy about that. Again, you do have someone on your side. You do have a soulmate here who can help you. But you have to believe that you're worth it, and you have to believe that it will help. So I think these are actually messages for you to be aware of, that there is an overemphasis on, and this might be a nice time for you to lead yourself away from this. All that glitters, really, it is appearances. It is saying the judgment of appearances. Who are we as opposed to what we project? All that glitters isn't gold. There's something under the surface. There could be the great actor, okay? The great deceiver. And again, with appearances, there could be this sense of something that you expected didn't work out the way you wanted it to, and it's almost like you're taking it personally. But whatever it is, it couldn't have worked out any other way. It's almost like there was this dreaming sort of inability to look at the facts of the matter, and it's almost like, well, this is what you're left with in the cold light of day. So all that glitters, and the way of saying that is just you're not going to get, or something isn't what it appears to be. Again, with the dreaming here, I think it's time to face facts. I think it's time to get real, right? You have, where's the other one? You have 2 pentacles, so there's a real call here to get real about something. Face facts, especially if you're down and out about something. You know, this is a really crippling card. The 5 of Pentacles. Rejection and forlorn and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, there's something heavy that we need to face here, Pisces, this month. So I think facing issues, facing facts, facing reality, accepting help when it's made available to you, drawing strength from someone else, dealing with internal turmoil or conflict, and then, you know, get that enthusiasm back in April. Life's too short to feel bad. And then chemistry is your final card. There's a strong magnetic attraction here. Well, I'm sure you're not surprised at this at all. So if you are coupled or married, this is beautiful. This is saying that you're in the right place for you. Chemistry-wise. However, it doesn't mean the heart, does it? And it doesn't mean the mind either. And it really doesn't mean that there's a practical reality here with this chemistry. So if you are coupled, for example, there could be other areas of your relationship that do need managing here, even though chemistry does exist, so you don't have to worry about that. If you are single or dating, at the very least, you can say in the dating world or with your partner right now that there is at least a strong magnetic attraction. So there could be polar opposite energies here. It could be leading to a sense of self-contemplation or conflict as well. It could be that's what leading to a sense of sort of examining where you are right now. Like, oh, before I met this person, I thought I wanted this, or I thought I was this, or I had this to offer. But now, after these conversations, it looks like it's not true, etc. So you really just come to terms with yourself, what you have to offer and what you're willing to accept. And here for creative projects, there's a strong magnetic attraction. Absolutely follow through with your creative projects, particularly under the auspices of enthusiasm here. Set yourself free, my dear Pisces. Go to where your heart carries you and try not to get bogged down in the element of everything having to be perfect. Okay, so that is your reading for the month. Join me next time. I wish